The sound of metal against metal rang through the room, and Zam's ears shot backwards, much to his own chagrin. He did not feel the slightest distress over the sound that had become common to him, but his biology still insisted on doing it every single time. He had considered, jokingly to himself, that he should just tape them down permanently to avoid this whole debacle in the first place. "So why'd you do it?" Zam asked, now that his ears had returned to their neutral position. He was a little jealous of the human in front of him, who could force her expression to remain placid in most situations, though they did make it extremely more satisfying when he did get a reaction from her. The small shock that reverberated in the large human was a sight to behold, every muscle tensing up for just a moment. He had done a good job sneaking into the room. "Why do I do what? And why do you keep doing that?" Sam asked of the bipedal fennekin wolf-cat dog-bird hybrid. Sam's eyes hurt every time she had to stare at Zam for extended periods of time. The human brain was not meant for trying to understand something alien, but of course it tried to anyway. The details of his face became garbled, and she was often left feeling that she was looking at least 3 different people stacked onto each other. The similarity in their names did not escape either of them. And it did not escape their ship's captain either, who liked to pair them up just for the laughs. "Well, I keep doing it because I find it hilarious. And I want to know why you come in here and practically torture yourself so much. You can still get roughly equivalent rewards if you just use the nanite enhancers like everyone else." Zam wasn't looking down on Sam, but he was most curious about her reasons. All this lifting added up to an entire workship per week. Not to mention how she'd been left all but a shaking mess for hours after it. It gave her increased performance and strength, yes, but so would using the nanites to reinforce herself. It's different when you do it naturally. It just feels like going in the right direction. I tried the nanites, of course I did, but it left me without the substance. No pain, no gain. I got the benefits, sure, but there was no cost. It felt empty. Hollow. I do this because doing it the easy way just makes it too easy. Zam looked at Sam's hand, reaching for a water bottle. It shook from the effort. "But you're in pain. Barely able to even hold the bottle for void's sake." Zam appreciated Sam's grit when it came to handling pain, respected her for it, but doing it when an alternative was available just seemed strange. But he did not understand humans in the first place, so he wanted to take the effort to at least know why, before he called her a dumb fuck for it. "It's a good pain. I don't mind it." Zam was confused. How could pain be good? "Elaborate." "Every time I push myself to the limit, it burns. But after that comes the simple dopamine rush. My brain literally makes me happy when I make myself feel pain this way. And I've been doing this for a while now, so the two are one and the same to me. It's a human thing." "Pain is used for warning about something breaking in your body. Is that not the case for your kind?" "It is. I break the muscle fibers by using them like this, and they grow back stronger. I may be weaker now than I was before the workout, but tomorrow I will be stronger than I have ever been in my life." Sam was moving on to the next exercise, one Sam knew to be one of the most grueling ones in Sam's routine. Still, she insisted on doing it at the very end of her time, in the small personal supply closet gym. "But you're already well within and above what an average human is capable of. Beyond the 1% with the information I have." Zam knew this wouldn't make Sam accept it, but he knew it would make her continue. "And I am proud of myself for that. I have come far, but the problem with human psychology is that we can never really realize that we have come so far. After I reach a new height, that height becomes the ground, the floor, the bottom. I don't want to stay on the bottom, so I go higher. It is not in my nature to accept the prize without using it to get more prizes." Zam knew she would continue, after she completed pulling herself up from a bar in the ceiling repeatedly, so he kept quiet and watched Sam. She started with fast movements that conveyed ease, but she kept going up and down. She started slowing down. After 23 completed moves, she became nearly still as she tried her best to get just one more. With tremendous effort, she did it. Then she grit her teeth, screamed, "Fuck!" and started going for one more. Her entire body shook violently as she got near the top. She wasn't the composed engineer she usually was. She was an empty-headed animal who had nothing on her mind except the commands to her muscles to keep contracting. She reached the top of the movement. Then she dropped onto the rubber mat underneath her. And then she collapsed onto the ground, holding both her arms as close as she could. Sam let out all the air in her lungs and groaned like only a human could. That is to say, very loudly through gritted teeth. Her next breath was relaxed. On the next one, she let her arms drop onto the floor. Sam counted down from 36 before he called a medic to see what was happening. He thought about not stopping when Sam began laughing on the floor, but decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. "New record. Fuck, that feels good. How could you not enjoy this, Sammy?" Sam took the question as the rhetorical variety, and wouldn't give her the satisfaction if it wasn't. He kept quiet. When humans finally managed to leave our planet in large numbers, we had figured out how to cure most illnesses. We could not figure out aging, however. We were trying to, of course, but progress was slow and lacking. Then you came to us and you gave us everything. Sam was laying on the ground, using a towel to prop her head up to look at Zam. He thought this was not a proper position to hold a conversation, but acquiesced anyway. Now we live forever, and humans aren't meant to do that. I could live for centuries, millennia, for as long as I want to. That scares me, it truly does. I am young, Zam, so very young. The oldest human is only 200 years old now. Our species is in the biggest social reformation that has ever happened in our history. Life itself has become something so very different. What will I be after 5,000 years? Zam decided to take a seat, seeing a monologue incoming. I love life. I love to live. And I don't know how to think that it might never end. Will I still love life when I am older than all the suns in the night sky? And I can't have that answer until I get there, but by then, I might not even care or remember the question. I can't even know if I'll be happy. To Zam, Sam looked like a very lost puppy that had just gotten out of its cage for the first time. Afraid of the new grounds that it got to roam, and having seemingly lost all its protection. Zam was over 300 human years old by now. He had grown up without the cage, so he had never thought about his own mortality to be time-sensitive. But Sam had lived to 40, until she had joined up with the crew and gotten the complimentary nanite treatments. She had been so happy in that moment when she looked in the mirror for the first time, and knew she was going to live for a long time. Zam knew in that time she would forget the false safety of the cage, and then she lived carefree, doing whatever she wanted to. But she had to figure that on her own. Well, he was going to help, but he wasn't going to give the answers. That'd ruin the whole fun. It could take a few centuries, but he knew she'd get there. Humans were new and strange, but for all the thinking Sam did, and all the words she used to explain it, she wasn't even close to the answer. Zam wasn't sure if she believed the answer, if he were to give it just like that. Zam decided to test this. Sam, you are simple. You'll continue being simple, and you'll still be simple for as long as you live. You worry over nothing, and your fears are composed of unfound theories and near schizophrenia levels of speculation. Now get your ass up from the floor, come to the cafeteria with me, and let's get you some juice so you'll stop pouting. That might be the single most offensive thing anyone has ever said to my face. You call me dumb, childish, and mentally ill in the same sentence. And I will continue saying it until you stop being all those things. And whether you like it or not, that point will come. It's only a matter of time, and I will have the largest laugh when you realize it for yourself. Fuck you, you name-stealing Xeno scum. Zam could not show his middle finger as a response, but he could laugh at Sam while walking away from the room. He knew this would get her up from the floor faster, and that's what he was trying to do in every way. Sam was a magnificent person who would be a part of the crew for a long time. It's possible she'd never leave. And Zam wanted his favourite smart-ass human to grow into herself. Sam wanted to prove the jackass who kept teasing her wrong, so she kept thinking about what he'd said on that day. It kept her up some nights, and her dreams and idle thoughts were consumed by the problem. No answer would stick, and she'd go right back to Zam's words about Sam being simple. It was infuriating, and he kept repeating it for years. At 60 years old, Sam was still exercising in the same repurposed closet with the same equipment. She could do 100 pull-ups now. The new records were sparse, and often she would fail trying to get them. Human biology could go far, but it had a plateau when you trained for so long. That plateau was a mountain in itself, but she had climbed it during the years. She still loved the feeling she got afterwards. At 250 years old, she could do 150 pull-ups. She had gotten her genes modded to increase the height of the mountain. The pain was still just as sweet. Life was still just as lovely to live. She still threw curses at Zam for repeating the very same words to her. She went longer and longer periods between asking the question. She slept well. At 4,000 years old, she could do 300 pull-ups. She was still on the same ship, still in the same room. The equipment had changed many times, but it was still the same room. She could name each part of the ship, and knew which parts were going to have to be replaced this century, and where to get the new parts for the cheapest. Zam was still teasing her. She still cursed him out on the rare occasion he mentioned the past. At 11,823 years old, she could do 500 pull-ups. It had been a century since she got to that point, but she still pushed forward. The pain was still sweet as honey. Every day she found something to improve or fix on the ancient ship. She was joyous whenever she was given the job of upgrading the ship with brand new parts. On the day she finally broke 501 pull-ups, she looked at her life. She remembered how she had been so scared of what she would become. She had been afraid of losing her humanity with age. And with so much time having passed, it had never happened. The crew had changed, the captain had changed. She had personally changed most parts of the ship. Then she started screaming curses to herself. Every single expletive she had learned from every single language she had come across was hurled towards the ceiling, as she laid exhausted and in pain on the rubber mat. She stopped screaming when she had to breathe, and heard maniacal laughter coming from the doorway. It finally happened, didn't it? I was right. I was so fucking right, and you finally got it. You simple, simple human. Sam pulled out a panel from the wall, and from behind it he pressed a button. Dust fell from the ceiling, as crackling music started playing with a song Sam had almost forgotten. Confetti sprang from the ceiling in tattered clumps, and for the finale, Sam put his hands out in front of him. A stasis unit slowly lowered into his hands, and from that he pulled out a bucket of popcorn and a bottle of human wine. The bucket had a year drawn on it, 2309. Sam had joined the crew in 2308. The current year was 14591. I am going to fucking divorce you. Sure you will, honey. Want some popcorn? Just give me the damn wine. At 303,019 years old, she could do 505 pull-ups, and they hurt just as good as they always did.